We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show. Slow that down.
This is episode number 2020, and today we're talking about how to create an irresistible real estate deal. Who doesn't want an irresistible real estate deal?
Who doesn't want an irresistible partner or an irresistible piece of pie?
That's what I mean.
You can take the most boring topic. Yep. I don't care what it is. Keyboard. Would you like an irresistible keyboard? What does that make you think? Like, ooh, are the keys kind of squishy?
Well, that's my point. So I'm glad you bring this up. What is an irresistible real estate deal versus just a good real estate deal? That's what we're going to talk about. Because I'll tell you, Jill's had many irresistible real estate deals. We didn't call them that at the time, but I'm going to tell you what I think what they were. And
maybe because I was involved, it was an irresistible real estate deal.
I knew it was going to come to this somehow. I knew it was going to come to females' attraction.
Well, hold on a moment. I've had irresistible brokers I work with.
That's good.
Here we go.
Did they stick around?
Yeah. Well,
good.
There's one with a cowboy hat that got sidetracked when he got a new girlfriend, but we won't go there.
This is what I'm saying. You're making my point.
Yep.
If we have nothing but irresistible real estate deals, then we will be selling those same irresistible real estate deals to people who find them amazing, and our lives are great.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of ways to accomplish that. I will be saying the word HGTV too many times during this episode. So if you're a data person and the one thing that you like about this show is that, he breaks everything down per price and data and all that, you're going to be a little disappointed here.
Are you going to talk wallpaper?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm ready for it.
Each week on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum and take a deep dive into land-related topics by popular request from our Land Academy community. Let's take a question, Joe.
Okay. Jenny wrote, "Good morning, everyone. I have a newbie question. I'm getting ready to list my first property. I'm down to 3 realtors. There are pros and cons to each one. Would anyone who is seasoned, experienced land seller have a minute or two to look over my 3 choices and give me their take, please?"
So before Jill answers this, and I stay quiet, I will say this. Everyone goes through this. Mm-hmm. I don't care how seasoned you are. We go through this, unless it's in a market where we already have somebody set up, we go through exactly what you're going through. Go ahead, Jill.
Okay, the first thing I look at, so I'm just looking on... narrowed it down to 3. Look at their choices. Well, I'm going to look at their listings. That's the first thing I'm going to look at. And I'm going to look at, do they have similar properties, the same area, same size, whatever it is. How fast do they sell? First, I'm going to this is a you thing, but I'm going to look at the numbers. And if they had one just down the street that just sold and I can see it went under contract in 42 days, awesome. They probably still have some buyers hanging out, by the way, that would want my property, and mine's going to be better and cheaper, by the way. So I'm going to start there. And then number 2, I'm going to look at the actual listing. How good is it? Do they have pictures? Is it more than one line? Do they really tell the story? Do they pull me in going, wow, I kind of want to buy that. I kind of want to live there. What the heck is this thing? Wow, they answered all the questions. The posting is real thorough. I read it. I don't have any questions, and it just painted the picture and pulled me in. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is them. When I call them, do they answer the phone, or do they connect with me? Are they responsive? Do they do what they say? And do I connect with them? Because if they don't answer the phone for me when I'm calling them to, elicit their business, they're not going to answer the call for my buyers. Go ahead.
This is not the place or time to get creative. There's lots of places in this business for creativity, where you send mail, how you price it. Those are all appropriate places to really apply some artistic versus just numbers. Mm-hmm. Finding a real estate agent is something that everybody struggles with in a new market. And I have to, when that happens, come back to experience. And so if you, like there was a last week, if you go back and listen to last week's podcast, if they're airing these in order, we had a comment about somebody, I'm not sure, it was somebody in our group said, what a difference a good real estate agent makes. I had a listing for 12 months. Nothing happened, not a single offer.
Right.
I got a Mossy Oak guy in, got the listing done, and we had an offer within a week, and the property was sold in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because if you don't know, Mossy Oak is a land. They're in our business. They're land
Focused.
national land focused real estate brokerage that deals with property that we buy and sell all the time.
And Whitetail.
Yeah, and Whitetail.
Whitetail's
Those are the
a good one
two.
too.
Versus Caldwell Banker or Century 21 or your Aunt Tilly.
Right.
If you're Aunt Tilly, you give her the listing because your wife is pressuring you to do that. Expect failure.
Yeah. Aunt Tilly, who just got her license, doesn't know what she's doing, and when you call her, she's out putting flyers on doors. That may not work.
Yep, we've experienced the whole gamut, Jill.
Yeah.
Jill and I have now we have right now the listings that we have and the property we own is very well listed in some cases and very poorly listed in other cases.
Yeah.
And that all has to do with one direct thing: Jill's involvement.
Oh, thanks.
If Jill's involved and she's not often because we have people working in our land companies, our land company that aren't as good as Jill.
Thanks.
And it's just not their thing. Choosing a real estate agent it's just not in their wheelhouse.
Thanks.
If you want to have success in this, it needs to be in yours. This is a really good and important question.
It is
We
true.
go through all this energy.
Yeah, because we don't want you to sit, Jenny. Like, we don't want to. Well, I'll give you a pro tip. What we covered again at the last show. That poor person that had that bummer agent had a year listing, so they were stuck with them for a year. And I would have still tried to find a way to get out of it with, less than
me
that.
too.
Because when you're not on the same page, everybody should kind of agree. Like, I want you to make those changes, and you don't want to make those changes. Last time I checked, you worked for me. So we're either you're gonna make my changes or we're gonna undo this. It's kind of, and I'm not trying to be mean. It's just the facts, man.
I'll be mean then.
Okay.
Real estate agents are, in general, taught and wired to get listings. So if you forget about our perspective and just look at their perspective, a real estate agent who's got 10 listings, real estate agent who's perpetually has rolling 25 listings, that's pretty interesting for them. They've got a pretty good chance of making a good living. How about 100? A real estate agent who has so much talent at getting listings, 100 rolling listings all the time. Now they're in the top upper echelon of their group financially. So what are they? They are very motivated I don't blame them. Very motivated to get a lot of listings. And once you get the listing, we'll see what the market does. It's on the MLS just like the other 99 listings I have. If it doesn't sell, something's wrong. It's not me.
No, it's price.
It's not what I'm doing.
It's price.
Yeah.
It's price. Yeah.
Because I sell.
We need to drop.
I
We
sell
need to drop it.
4 to 8 properties every month. If yours isn't selling, it's not my fault.
Mom, no. I put it out there. All right, let's go.
What's that mean?
I don't know. We could bitch for a while, and I don't want to.
Oh, that's not bitching. That's just telling the truth.
Okay, cool.
My point is, Jenny, 2 of the 3 real estate agents you're probably talking to have that idea, but that's not what they're telling you. They're not sitting in front of you saying, we'll see what happens with your listing. They're telling you beautiful peaches and cream stories about properties that are how they get sold. You have to sift through that.
You do. That's
It's
reality.
terrible.
And that's why you don't want to go with like the very first one too, like or the one that says the one that has the highest number. That doesn't necessarily mean it's right. They're just sometimes they are sadly just trying to get your business. Very true.
Today's topic: how to create an irresistible real estate deal. Like I said earlier, let's kind of define and dream for a second what the perfect real estate deal is so that we can go and locate it and attempt to buy it and resell it over and over and over again. I came up with 3 specific components of what an irresistible real estate deal is. Number 1, it's got an amazing price. Everything else in the market is priced at $300,000. You're going to buy this for $200,000 and sell it for $250,000. That's a pretty amazing price, and the lower the better. Price doesn't work unless you, the allure of price doesn't work if the property is a pile of crap. And so number two is it has to have some pretty severe uniqueness about it. And usually that ends up being a location. And so you can think, I always come back to like, think of New York City in Manhattan and how unique those locations are worldwide. In fact, they're one property to an adjacent property to an adjacent property. Those three properties that might be one block off of or one lot or parcel off of Broadway. It becomes a less and less and less unique location. So, and that's the same thing with ranch property and infill lots and all of it, especially waterfront property. So if you've got waterfront property at an amazing price, it's starting to sound irresistible. If you've got an amazing price 3 blocks off the water, it's not as irresistible. And then finally, if you really want to, hit this out of the park, you need to have a property that has some type of amazing or a set of amazing attributes. That's what everybody thinks about when they think about real estate. So again, continue to sort of half dream with me. Think about all these shows on HGTV and why they're so successful. They don't talk about the numbers on HGTV, and if they do, they're almost always not real. What they talk about is before and after. Here's just a terrible property with a reasonable price and it's not terrible, it's just dated or it's just used. It's used and used and used, and it's not new and fresh. Irresistible properties evoke a fantastic feeling in the potential buyer. And that's really easy to show on television when you're walking through a new house, a house that's been completely renovated by a professional renovator. So it's got to be really competitively priced, fantastic location, and something very, very attractive. You almost can't really quantify it or put it into a word. It just has to have some type of allure.
Are you talking land or houses or just anything?
Anything.
Okay, cool. I have different.
Yeah.
So as you're doing it, I wrote down my 3. 2 of my 3 are the same and one's different. I agree with you on the money. That's a duh. I agree with you on an attribute. That makes, that invokes a feeling when there's a creek or there's something special about it that just pulls people in. But my third one was multiple uses.
Oh.
I love properties where it's not just one thing. It could be subdivided. It could be built on. It could be this. It could be a mobile. It could be this. I mean, it could be commercial. It could be whatever. There's properties that have more than one. It could be recreational or residential or fill in the blank. That's just going to appeal to more people. To me, that's irresistible. So then my only job becomes getting it out there, blasting it out to the planet, which for me now it's picking the right broker who's going to do that, the right agent, and making sure that, gosh, it just looks stellar. And when that pops up on everybody's feed, they're like, whoa, what is that? How pretty is that photo? And wow, look at that property, and look how well it's described and conveyed, and every last little detail's in there. I don't have any questions. I read it. I have no questions, like I talked about earlier, down to what the annual taxes are. I know what that is too. People don't do that, and I wish they would.
So you've created an irresistible real estate deal. If somebody's like, where do I send the money?
Yeah, then there's nothing left to talk about.
You did it.
It's beautiful. And it's like, and when they stand on it, it's the same. It is that good. So, because I made sure it's that good. I didn't have the dump across the street not conveyed in the photos. So
what we're really saying when we say, what's the definition of an irresistible real estate deal? What we're doing in professional real estate speak is defining an acquisition criteria. I want properties between 20 and 40 acres. They need to be in these 3 zip codes, and they need to be at this price per acre, and it should sell very, very quickly, with plus or minus a few details. That's the same thing that people do on HGTV. It's got to be in a not so much location, 3-bedroom, 2-bath or more, X amount of square footage on a water, either on a water or a water view.
Mm-hmm. Amazing garage, boat dock, fill in the blank.
I've been in acquisitions my entire professional life in healthcare and in long-term care. The facilities that we would only buy had to have 2 or less nursing stations for staffing reasons, had to have no more than semi-occupied rooms, no 3 and 4 and 5 bed wards. They had to have no less than 100 beds for efficiency scale, in contracts with certain insurance companies, and on and on and on. And you develop an acquisition criteria, and then your entire job becomes to jam that pipeline full of opportunities. That's it. You have a pipeline and you're searching for those irresistible deals. You've got a jam pipeline, and if you're a Land Academy member, you have got people lining up to partnership deals with you, so you don't have to worry about money. You're going to win.
So you're talking, okay, we described what is an irresistible real estate deal. Got it. From the buyer's perspective, what it needs to look like. We both covered that. What we think are the 3 or 4 most important items. And now you're saying, okay, great. Now what you're doing is you're taking that to the acquisition level, which is what we all should be doing. You should know going into a market what you want to sell and for what price. So when you back into it to what you're willing to buy, what you want to buy and what you're willing to pay, it should be no problem and no question. There should be no guessing.
So that's great, guys. You make this sound so easy. Fantastic. You described this great situation. And yeah.
Congratulations. You turn on the faucet and gold comes out. Well, great. That's awesome.
Look, so
I don't have that.
The last half of this episode is going to be how to do this.
Okay, thank you. I didn't read ahead.
You didn't?
No, I did not read that part. I did. Enlighten me too.
This process is almost identical, if not identical, to the regular acquisition process that Jill and I have been doing for decades. So what's changed is the tools that we use to do it, and why it's getting easier and easier and easier, in my opinion, not harder. So here's how you create an irresistible real estate deal. Number 1, you identify the profile of what the property is. Well, we just did that. We've said we want between 20 and 40 acres. It needs to be less than $2,000 an acre, and it needs to be in a certain area, because I know from what everybody's told me that those, if I can fill that order, then it's going to sell quickly. Great. I know exactly what my acquisition profile is. Number 2, I need to know where those deals exist, because 10 people can come to you and say, well, if I had the corner lot on Broadway and Fifth, and I had it and I got it for 13 cents, I'd be all set. It's got to be realistic.
Everything on this lake.
Yeah.
It could be something like that.
Any one of these 6 properties that surround this lake would be great, and I need them for $500. That's not realistic. And if you have too small of an area, you're really hurting yourself. You need to give yourself a lot of opportunity to fill that order of that acquisition criteria.
Right.
Number 3, when you know what you want to buy, and now you know where you want to buy it, and you know where you want to buy it because you're applying the red, green, yellow test through the trolling methodology that we talk about seemingly endlessly in Land Academy. It's a system I've been devising and improving for a couple decades. We know what we're buying. We now know where, because we tested it with the red, green, yellow test, and that there are opportunities to do that enough so that we can send 2, 3, 4, 5,000 units out and potentially capture that. And now we want to identify through data who owns those properties. So now we know what we want to buy, where we want to buy it, and who owns it. The last part is to contact them intelligently with a well-priced offer, with a blind offer campaign, and follow up with Jill-like accuracy to create a real estate deal.
That's it right there. You're creating a deal.
Yep.
People don't realize that. You're creating a deal where one didn't exist.
That's the name of the show, how to create an irresistible real estate deal, not how to identify one, not how to price one correctly.
What one looks like.
You're creating the transaction.
Create the deal.
So I create in our real jobs, not this, the opportunity. I present the opportunity for Jill to create a real estate deal.
True. Through
finding the right area. By the time it gets to her and the phone rings, and the person's within the price of what I sent out, she knows, because we've been doing this for how many years together.
Mm-hmm.
She knows it's close.
That's, I was doing a coaching call yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I was talking about that with you. They were asking me, like, their first mailer's going out. They're asking me some stuff, what to expect. And I said, well, here's the difference for me and why I'm very lucky. Like, we'll get you there. But I pretty much can assume when my phone rings, if they're anywhere in the ballpark of what we offered, we're going to buy it. So I am very fortunate because you are that good, that those offers are stellar. If they're anywhere, like I said, anywhere in there, I answer the phone assuming it's a deal. And then so I'm always,
that's great.
I answer the phone assuming there's a deal. They're calling because they agree with me. And now I'm trying to find something wrong with it. That's it.
So again, I don't want to make this sound too easy, because there's a reason that, I said this in some other venue recently. Jill came to me, I don't know what, on our last mailer, I had her check the mailer at the very end of it. I think it was last week we talked about this on the show. And she said, I asked her, well, what do you think? And she looks at it and for less than an eighth of a second, looks back at me and says, will this create 10 potential transactions a day for us to look at?
Yes.
And I said, no. And she said, well,
I need more mail.
How about you let me know when it's like that, when the mailer, however you do that, whenever the mailer, she waves her hand around and says,
call me when you're done.
Yeah, call me when you really have this figured out.
You're like,
you know what? I went back and did it.
Well, this is a very specific thing too. We're doing some very unique, specific things too, and some of that. But I'm like, I can't. It's hard for me to do it if I don't have the faucet coming at me.
So she didn't say this, but this is what she really meant, because I speak Jill.
Yes.
What she really meant is, I don't want to work this hard.
Yes.
To sift through and make deals work that shouldn't be working.
Correct.
I want it to be easy.
Yeah.
I want so many deals in front of me that I'm going to pick that one because it's so easy and I know that it's going to work.
Yep.
And you know what? It's a hell of a lot easier for me to respond to her request like that and then go back in the dark room for maybe an hour, 2 hours, or however. And for you, it might take a little longer because you're new, but you will, if you keep with it, it'll be the same experience for you. It's easier for me to generate 10 deals versus 5 than all the stuff that she has to go through to find the one deal that we want to do that month, or 1 or 2 deals, and bang our heads against the wall trying to make them work, versus looking at 25 deals and saying these 2 work. These 2 are going to work. I can see it right now.
You mean you told me it took 5 hours and it only took 1? I'm just kidding. I know that goes on, by the way. Yeah, I'll be over here working on the mailer. I'm like, do. He's been done with that for a while.
I have never not been caught up with The Walking Dead.
Wait, so you are caught up,
Yes.
is what you're saying. All right.
I
don't like double negatives. I hate that.
Oh,
yes,
I've always been caught up with The Walking Dead.
There we go. Like,
which
what?
has been on for as long as we've been doing this, I think.
Well aware. But that's okay. My phone rings.
So that's great. She's got 2 great deals in front of her. She and her staff get them purchased, and that's great. We're all done. No, we're not done at all. We have to sell it. We have to resell it. And I say this jokingly because that's mentally when we're done. When we bought an amazing piece of property, the high that we get, both of us, for that is over. And now it's just numbers on a computer screen. So we have full-time staff to do that. So they go and resell it and convert it back to cash. You've got some cash, or maybe you have no cash, but a partner with a bunch of cash, you buy the property. So it's cash, real estate, back to cash. Small amount of cash, small price for real estate, more cash in the bank than when you started.
I love it.
Jill, if that wasn't inspirational enough, do you have something inspirational to share today?
I was going to make a joke about that earlier, about inspiration. This is a tough time. You know what? I'm going to talk about this for just a minute. I want everyone listening to know I feel your pain. We feel your pain, and we are right there with you. Please remember that I'm doing deals right next to you and ahead of you, hopefully. I got stuff going on too, and I'm learning things and figuring out areas and solving problems to save you time. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and there's a lot of uncertainty. And so this came up a couple times this week. You and I have talked about it a lot. I've talked about it privately in some coaching sessions. I've talked about it on the Land Academy Ladies call, that, like, please don't lose sight of the goal or lose your momentum or lose your excitement because of all the uncertainty coming at you. Stay the course, buy things even better. That's the thing too that we are doing personally. I was picky before. I'm getting even more picky. And we'll get, and it's going to be fine. There's always opportunities, whether things are up or they're down. There's opportunities depending on where you are and how you're looking at this. And I know you want to add to that.
If you're brand new, you are at an advantage over people who have been in the real estate business for a while, including us, because you don't know what it was like the last 3 to 4 years at 3% interest rates, and anything that you would buy would almost immediately resell. That's just how the market was, and that's what happens with markets. Mm-hmm. And so you're coming in at a time, and I came in at professionally at a time in the real early 90s, very early 90s, where there was a huge recession happening, and so I was at a huge advantage. And computers were just becoming commonplace in an office, and I was at an advantage because I understood that. Everybody else in the industry didn't, and everybody else was fat and happy and buying new Cadillacs. And I was not.
You were hungry.
I was literally eating ramen noodles. So, yeah. And it's just, so I found a better way. Obviously, it stuck because here we are.
It worked.
The people, if you've been in this for a few years, for a while, it is imperative that you review your processes and make the changes to adjust to the market. Because I've made that mistake. Well, I guess that it doesn't work anymore. The stuff we've been doing for 5 years, wow. From the back of the yacht that I bought, this is a true story, no longer works. I guess it's over. Enter Jill, and she's like, what are you talking about? It's over. It's not over. We just have to change this, and this. Give me a list of all your buyers that have been buying for you consistently. I'll call them and we'll do some deals. It was that simple. I wasn't used to actually having to pick up the phone to do stuff. The properties that we were bringing into inventory would sell themselves within days. So you have to review and make those changes, or you'll die. And my final point is this, and I say this from a personal place. It's also a time to make permanent change. This is going to all happen again, 10 to 15 years from now, all of it. It happened 15 years ago. I'm shocked it actually came to this. I thought it was going to be about 10 years. These real estate cycles, historically, if you look all the way back, are 11 years apart. So we got 4 or 5 more years out of this one, which is great. The last cycle, Jill and I made permanent changes in our financial life. We promised each other we'd never take on any debt of any kind in any way, with the exception of a rationally priced, conservative primary residence first position mortgage, and that's it, which I think is fine. Mm-hmm. And that worked out great for us, past tense. So it's time. It's very important that you don't beat yourself up or let anybody else in your life who's close to you let you even think that you suck as a person because you made some decisions at the time that were really good for you and your family.
Yes, that's nice.
You just made a mistake.
That's good.
Nobody knows when these things are going to happen. No one. The only reason that we're not in any form of financial trouble at all is because we went through it 15 years ago when we were in serious, severe financial, detrimental financial situation. Jill pulled us out of it, and we promised each other we'd never do it again. 10 or 15 years from now, whoever you are, if you're going through this, that's what their goal is, to never go through it again. It's to solve it now and never go through it again. It's not to beat yourself up or listen to your stepmom tell you how stupid you are.
No, just
that's
make
the worst
changes.
Thing ever.
Get together, make the changes. You're going to be fine.
Yep.
And if you're listening right now and you're paying attention, good for you. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right. Because you care.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Jill. Mm-hmm. Join us next Wednesday for another interesting episode. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.